Tea's ready.
Babies are sleeping.
How's your day, honey?
It was a good day. It was quite busy. I finished up the packaging for the new serums and I finalized the new product launch. And you won't believe it, I actually signed 4 new resellers.
Good day so far?
Yeah. You had a busy day too.
Alhamdulillah, it was a good day.
Did you finish up the script for the next video?
Yeah, finalizing it. What do you think of this? The interview series on the channel is doing really well through lockdown.
Yeah, it's because they're good stories and people need to hear good stories, especially in a time like this.
Yeah, it's legit. It's just everyday people that have a vision, that know what they just want to do in their hustle. Alhamdulillah, it inspires people.
Yeah, I think you should do one. You haven't done one in a while.
Well, the pre-film ones I used in this lockdown. I mean, we had day 100 or something, 104.
Check this. I just got another customer review from one of my clients. Loving my skin so far. These acne scars from 15 years ago are finally disappearing and my breakouts are down.
Honey, that's what you need to be on the channel, honey. Why don't you be on the channel? I mean, tell the viewers, show the viewers how you built your company, inspire them to do everything that you do in lockdown, level 4, all the cool things that are happening in your company, man. You have to be on the channel.
But I'm your wife. Like, how would you even introduce me?
Well, I think we just get it out on the table and we tell them.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not funny. It's not funny. No, let's just stop it. It's not funny.
I'm telling you, it will be funny. This interview is going to be sick, guys. Up next.
So, okay, we've gone through the startup phase. Do what you've got to do, learn what you can, and ultimately get something out there, right? And adapt it as you go along. Focus. What should people that aspire to start something do every day if today's the day they had an idea?
Or I don't even know where to start with this, is to take that step back and go, actually I can do this myself. And sometimes people get lost in the idea of my brand is my logo. If you know my logo, that's all that matters. But is that all that matters? I know Vodacom's logo, but am I happy when they don't answer my phone calls or they won't give me a new phone? No, I'm not. So all of those things are things that you can now implement yourself to have what people call pure customer delight. And who wouldn't like that for their brand, right?
What is that journey like as a mother, 2 kids, highly technical, crazy guy sitting on this side of you?
The thing that motivates me, I think, the most every day is that I actually get to be at home and see my kids. I hear them playing outside and I can go see what they're doing. And I can turn back and I can speak to a client and I can fulfill an order. And then I can go have lunch with them and then I can get a review from a really happy customer. And I know that what I'm doing is making a difference.
Is there really anything holding anyone back?
No, and that's why I feel like this is something that is attainable for anyone. This is definitely something that everyone can do. We feel like the things that hold us back are the things that we don't know. And for me, the biggest thing about that is that anything you don't know can be learned. A lot of mothers have this conversation on The Secret about, you know, I wanted to be at home with my kids because I don't want to miss out on all those precious moments. But as you hit about 1.5 years, you start losing it a little bit, going, I don't know how much more I can talk about nappies, you know, or baby talk, because I feel like I'm missing adult interaction. And that's exactly what your own business does for you, is it stimulates that part of your mind again to go, you can be the person that you wanted to be, and you can still be an amazing mother, and you can still be an amazing wife. All of those things are still at play. It doesn't mean if you pick up one, another ball has to drop. I'm not the kind of person by nature that is able to sell something to someone. Like I always get told that someone says, sell me this pen, and I go, if you don't want it, then don't take it. Like, I can't convince you to buy something that you don't want. But I remember having a conversation with you because I felt like you were amazing at having conversations with people and just talking to them. And I'd see you do that. And I think, I don't know how to do that. And I feel like this is really important for my business. You know, is you start a company to hopefully one day be given a huge check that can't even fit in your pocket because it has so many zeros.
Is this your husband's influence? Hey guys, welcome back to Money Talks, and in today's episode we have revealed the mastermind behind the plan, the best part of me, Raeesa Bagus, my wife. Also, Raeesa, you are a businesswoman, a mother. You started a business in skincare in an already very saturated market with a specialization of glutathione. You've launched the first ever 2-supplement formulation on the market and built up the company into a range of over 10 specialist natural skincare products. You've single-handedly built the website, designed the packaging, created the strategies, managed the advertising. You take time to speak to customers personally and are front and center in all the new product formulations and launches. You do this all from your dining room table at home while playing a very active role as a mother to 2 kids. And most importantly, my other half, my wife. Thank you very much for being here, sweetheart.
Thank you for having me on the show. I'm normally behind the scenes and I'm letting the people in, and I get to watch what they get to say, but it's interesting to be on this side of the camera, and I'm excited to see how this whole interview process pans out because I'm not normally the person on this side of the camera. But
So let's get straight into it, honey. Where did it all start? I mean, before we met, you were already on the journey of your career in marketing. Take it from there. Where were you at in your mind?
So when we met, I had just stopped working at a big advertising agency, TBWA, their global advertising agency, and I got to do some really amazing things. I was given the opportunity to work with the entire Africa network, which allowed me to really step straight out of university and experience advertising firsthand with big brands. And luckily, the person that I was working with at the time was very open to letting me make mistakes and learn new things and try new things, and nothing was out of my reach. If there was something that I didn't know, I could learn it at the time, and he pushed me in that direction to say, you know, anything that you need to learn, we can either get someone to teach you or you can teach yourself. And I went, okay, cool. So everything that I had learned while I was still at university had become, that's the stuff that you learned. And everything that you may have learned from your textbook is not the thing that you actually practice in the real world. And that was a really a different approach for me, because I thought I was going to go in and I was going to do all the things that I learned, the 4 Ps, price, promotion, product, and one other thing. And that wasn't the case. I went in there and it was like about having conversations with people and about thinking creatively and about approaching things differently. And marketing and advertising is so rapidly changing all the time. The things that you learned in the textbook isn't actually the things that are practiced every day. So that was my first step. And after I had done everything that I could possibly do there, and I felt like I needed to go into more of a marketing role, so not the advertising space, I moved into a company called BSG, and I played a digital manager role there where I looked after their digital and online space. And that was also completely different. I went from an advertising world of creatives and just people being crazy all the time, coming up with ideas, to a more corporate structure where people had ideas of what they wanted to get out there and how you were going to do it. And, you know, as someone who studies marketing and you believe you're a creative person, sometimes when you go into a corporate environment, you feel like your creativity is being stifled a bit because you have to go through various levels of approval before an idea gets approved or before your idea actually comes to life. I did there, basically I worked there for 3 years, and after that I moved to a fintech company as their digital marketing manager. And just as I started working there, funny enough, I happened to fall pregnant. And that threw a little bit of a spanner in the works because I had big plans for my career and where I was going to go with it. But my plan was always that once I had my first baby, I was going to stay at home for a while because I wanted to spend all those precious moments with him and not be rushing back to work too soon.
You know what, honey? Sorry to cut you off this, sweetheart. It is actually awkward. So how about we get straight into... I mean, let's do here. So you came out of varsity, right? And you learned the difference between theory and application in the real world. And absolutely, there's an essence in the theory that we hope to understand in order to give value in whatever it is that we do. And then you face the trouble between corporate hierarchy and creativity. And how do you mix the two once you have the essence and understanding and just want to go do it, especially in a space of marketing and advertising. And then life happened, marriage, kids, and so on. And you had these deep down goals of becoming a mother, after which, and we're going to spend time on this, guys, because she's created a company that's self-sustaining, that's holding an incredible amount of market share. The brand is building. It stands for something, the values of an organization, and more importantly, en route towards being an entrepreneur, creating your own life to live on your own terms. And I think let's just open up that kind of worm. So corporate to business, while real life was happening, what was that like for you?
So, you know, the switch over from working for someone to starting my own business was interesting, because my plan initially was that at a certain point I would go back to work. And after becoming a mother, I thought to myself, I know how demanding a marketing job is, because things need to happen in a specific time frame, like with any profession. And it wasn't something that I was willing to do in terms of taking away that time from a really small baby, because an 8 to 5 means not necessarily 8 to 5, it's 8 until the job is done. And I thought, this is my opportunity to take all the things that I've learned and to put it into something that I want to do, and to put it into something that I want to grow. And then that corporate hierarchy that we talk about falls away, because I am the corporate hierarchy. Everything that I decide that I want to do or create or put out there is exactly what I do. I think about it, I execute it, and I get it out there. And then I see how it's working, and I adapt it, and I change it, and I try again. And that gave me the ability to use all that marketing and creative stuff that was going on in my head and put it out in the real world and go, this is me and this is my brand, and I believe this is going to work. And alhamdulillah, it has worked. It has been an opportunity for me to actually say, I can do this and I can come up with ideas. And there's nothing stopping me from going, my idea is as good as the next person. Why not test it out and see how people respond to it?
Real life, right? The business, I mean, as you describe it, and especially in hindsight, usually these stories sound like this, guys. You started something, you believed in it, and all of a sudden it's the straight line to where you are today. Not the case. Absolutely not the case. I know this, you know this, and I think that message needs to translate. How would you explain that to the viewers watching that might be in a situation, because of these times that we're living in, the world's changing fast, incomes are being taken away. A positive side, silver linings are people have time. It's a whole new world in terms of the possibilities and opportunities, and everything's kind of slowed down, except it's been speeding up along digital online space, and your store is an online store, it's an online business. The people are real in terms of the relationships. It's not an exact science as much as there are guidelines, but yes, passion. How do you explain the rest to help someone, I suppose, start and get through?
So I think in the beginning you sort of start, and I remember the first day that I actually went live with the website, and I was expecting, I'm going to send this out to all the people I know. My website is live and I'm just going to get flooded with orders. And I remember the feeling that day so clearly, because one order went out and it just happened to be from the most random person that I know that I would have never thought would have bought it. And I sat down at the end of that day and I went, what went wrong today? Why wasn't I flooded with orders? And then all the marketing theory kicked back in and I went, because no one knows this brand exists. And just because I know some people doesn't mean that this brand or this product is relevant to them. So how am I going to reapproach this with my marketing background, understanding that people need to actually know about the product to buy it? What else do they need to know after they know about the product? They need to know it works. They need to know who it has worked for. I need to understand people's actual problems that this specific product gives a solution for. And then I reevaluated the whole thing and I went, okay, so there's a website live. So that's cool. But does that website rank? No, it's not ranking at the moment. Why isn't it ranking? let me look at that. How do I actually approach that? What are the other things that I need to do to make this happen? And that, I think, got me to a point of understanding and taking me back to going, what don't I know and what do I need to learn to make this happen? So going back to my first mentor again, is when I was working at TBWA, there was never something that we approached as, okay, you haven't learned how to do this, or you don't know how to do this, so don't do it. It was a case of, well, let's learn how to do it and then make it happen. And that's exactly the approach that I then took with Skin Candy, is anything that I don't know how to do can be learned in a day or two and can be executed by me, because I was all the people. I was the website designer, I was the advertising person, I was the salesperson, I was the person packing the couriers, I was the person designing the packaging. But those are not all the things that I learned in my background of marketing. Like, I'm not a graphic designer by profession. I just taught myself how to use design programs because I want the vision in my head to be seen on the paper. And with all that, I was able to go, okay, any challenge that I face now can be overcome. I don't need to hire someone to do this. I don't need to have this limit how far my business goes or what I can do in the space because I don't know how to do it.
As well as finance, right? You had to learn, I remember this. What about accounting? What about finance? What about keeping track of your sales and creating this understanding of targets? What's your take on all that? Because I know I had a lot to say, and we sit here today with a process. What was that like for you, the entrepreneur?
So it was actually really difficult. I mean, you know, we still have discussions every now and then. We sit down and have our exco meetings and we sit and look at the numbers, and I'm still not fully comfortable in that space because it's not a space that I understand. Like, numbers are sort of something that I look at and I go, okay, I don't know how to navigate through this. But when you sit down and you look at them and you understand how important it is that you deeply understand those numbers and how they're going to translate into the success of your business, then you can sit down with someone like a mentor, and I look at you as a mentor most times when it comes to running my business and looking at those numbers and go, what are the numbers that are important here and how do we actually decipher these numbers to say what needs to happen or where this business needs to go.
Okay, so pause right there, because we covered a lot which somebody watching is going to feel. I hope you shouldn't, because I mean, I saw this from the outwards in, and it's coming out this way, but ultimately, take it all the way to the beginning. What was your main focus? What should people that aspire to start something do every day if today's the day they had an idea?
So for me, I think if you want to start something, if you're in a startup and you want to get somewhere, is to write that down. So write down where you want to be in a year's time from now. And every day you look at the paper and you go, how do I get to this point? And you'll be flooded with new ideas every day. No, I need to do advertising today. No, I need to look at the sales. No, I need to phone new resellers. No, maybe I should sell on Takealot. But as you go through each of those things, every day it will become clearer as to how you're going to reach that point. And with all of those things, whether it happens to be, I need to do more advertising, and the thing that's holding you back is that, oh, but I don't know where a graphic designer is, or I don't even know where to start with this, is to take that step back and go, actually, I can do this myself. I can look at stuff that inspires me. When I see something, I mean, you're not an advertising person, right? But when you see a good advert, how do you feel about it?
I get very judgy with it and think about how I'd do it myself.
Right, exactly. Now, most people will see a good advert and they'll go, that was a great advert. They don't necessarily have a marketing background, but anyone can be inspired by something and go, how can I incorporate this thinking into my own business?
Well, this is the power of emotion created through advertising. And ultimately, the ultimate goal of an advertiser or a company for that matter is to get their brand value up. Seeing as your background is in advertising and marketing, what would you say the importance is of a good brand, especially today looking into the future?
Oh, I don't think it can even be quantified how important a brand is in terms of the consumer and someone knowing what your brand is and what it stands for. And
but what are the ingredients of a good brand?
So the ingredients are definitely
without the theory, right? So in plain English, somebody's creating a brand. What are the key ingredients to make a good brand?
So just off the top of my head, it needs to be something that can be remembered, right? You need to stand for something, and that needs to clearly come across in everything you talk about. The importance of a good brand is got so many elements to it, because a brand is built based on all the different elements. It's advertising, it's product, it's customer service, the person that the person speaks to. So if you are my client and you speak to me, what was that experience like? That's all part of my brand. And sometimes people get lost in the idea of my brand is my logo. If you know my logo, that's all that matters. But is that all that matters? I know Vodacom's logo, but am I happy when they don't answer my phone calls or they won't give me a new phone? No, I'm not. So I think the importance of understanding branding, and when you're talking startup, right, is this is your opportunity to build something that people love. And how do you do that every step of the way? And looking at all those finer details and go, put yourself in the consumer shoes. Go, if I was the person buying this product, how would I like to receive it? How would I like to be spoken to? How would I like to receive my second order? How would I like to, receive communications from them? All of those things are things that you can now implement yourself to have what people call pure customer delight. And who wouldn't like that for their brand, right? Someone going, this brand just delights me.
I mean, look, it comes down to core values. You said it, and as you're saying it, and it's very interesting. We don't have conversations like this quite formally, but it's coming to mind in a different way. And thank you again for being here, sweetheart. It's really jogging my memory. Please, guys, pay attention here. But allow me this. As human beings, we live by the saying, our core beliefs and values, one of them being treat others how you'd like to be treated. And this is exactly to the philosophy of building a business, treating your customers how you'd like to be treated as an individual. And I can see this translate within the organization as I'm again sitting from this side of the fence, is the people you attract into your organization should share these same values to allow the company to become great. So okay, we've gone through the startup phase. Do what you've got to do, learn what you can, and ultimately get something out there, right? And adapt it as you go along. This is similar to how you've grown your company as well. It's also not a rosy journey. It seems to be cycle after cycle after cycle, fire after fire after fire. What is it like? What is it like being a mother, 2 kids, trying to design this life on your own terms, on a company by yourself? Because this here is something that a lot of people seem to be afraid of, taking that risk, the security of employment, except we are on a blank slate right now. There is no security in employment anymore. What are we telling the viewers watching that it's absolutely possible? Male, female, it doesn't matter, but based on what it's like, what it was like for you.
So as a mother and as a wife and as a business owner, it's a roller coaster of emotions, Every day is something new is coming at you. It may be something that you've never dealt with before. It may be something that you do know how to deal with, but every time you're putting out a fire, it's always a fire. If you put out one yesterday, it's still a fire that has to be put out today, right? So it's about taking each thing on and understanding the priorities of it and things like that. So that you can get through the day without feeling overwhelmed, like there's stuff I still didn't get to and I have to get to it. But also understanding that it's okay to make mistakes. This is your brand. And, I very much built Skin Candy on a premise of sort of looking at Apple about just get things out there, and people will love them, and make sure each step along the way is a delightful experience for people. And as you do it and you get a product out there, you understand and you start to unpack what people want more from your brand. Because when you start talking to a customer and they tell you, I really love your transdermal patches, but I'm looking for a serum that works with this patch, then you start actually providing your customers with what they're asking you for, instead of just putting something out there and going, oh, so we decided that we're going to come out with a full body cream. And they went, but that's not what we want, to us, Skin Candy is a specialized thing. This is what we want. And when you actually have those conversations, it's a lot easier because then you release products that people are asking for. I'm not sure if that answered your question about...
I mean, it did. So let's follow on with this, right? When we talk about product, you started one way, right? You created a product and you started selling it, and the brand value grew, and all of these elements in terms of the experience played its part. Fast forward till today, you have a line of products. What went into the development of each product and the philosophy behind it in creating something that really works?
So if I think back to when I started Skin Candy, I was actually looking for a product for myself. And all the products that were currently on the market just didn't have the right amounts of all the ingredients based on what I had researched. So I came to have a conversation with you. I'm not sure if you remember that conversation.
I absolutely remember that conversation.
And you said to me, well, then why don't you make it yourself? And I laughed it off. I thought, oh, man, what is this guy talking about? How can I do this myself? Anyway, fast forward a few months, and I did that. I went, how do I give clients something that works, even if it means putting more investment into it, so that it is a bigger bottle or 2 supplements or patches that, like, you know, have more ingredients on it. And the basis of Skin Candy was that it needed to be a product that worked, a product that was natural, so it wasn't going to have any side effects.
Halal.
Yes, halal. A product that was giving vegetarians an option as well, and a product that was clinically dosed with all the right ingredients so that you were going to see results. Because yes, there's a ton of other supplements out there, but are they supplements that work, or have they been cut on cost because it's too expensive to put the right amounts in there? And that's how we happened to come out with the first ever 2 supplement formulation. Because you told me, I remember having this conversation with you going, but it doesn't all fit in one. And you said, well, then put it in 2. And again, I laughed it off like, you know, this guy, he just has these ideas all the time. Okay, just put it in 2. Like, there's a reason you don't go into Dis-Chem and there's a pack with 2 supplements in it. But I went, but what is the reason? There has to be a reason, right?
I'm glad that you have me in your head as this guy. But, okay. So we created this product. You said this value has to be in what it works, which absolutely is right. You know, the age of today is we have the opportunity to create proudly South African products. Our local people are going to support that, especially as the world moves out of whatever we are, whatever phase we're in right now, as well as something that works with the right experience. And this absolutely can be done by young entrepreneurs, don't you? I mean, you and I absolutely believe that. So coming back to the finance aspect of it all, right? So creating a company seems very daunting, right? Financially as well. What's your take towards your ability to think through managing your own finances? Because as much as you guys might think so, I don't manage this woman's finances. I come in and I give my advice, but ultimately it's one of those self-taught proactive things that she does in this household, so we both can understand what it takes to live and understand money and teach it to our kids and be completely present at all times throughout anything that we do. But I want to hear your take towards finance.
So for me, and you know, running the finances of Skin Candy is it was very much a taught thing. And as I went through the years and the first few months of running Skin Candy, I had to sit down and figure out processes. How am I going to do invoicing? How am I going to track each order? How am I going to do stock control? Like, you know, you start off and you go, okay, cool, these are all the bottles that I have and I need to send them out. And as you start, you realize after the first week, how many do I have left? Do I have to now go sit and count all of them? There has to be a better way to do this. How am I going to actively manage clients who are repeating purchases, to understand, okay, this is your second one, to follow up with them and see how that's going, and to understand the numbers of how many people are purchasing, at what point do they stop purchasing, why they stop purchasing.
How old is Skin Candy?
So Skin Candy this year is 6 years old.
Oof. And looking back, right, break it all the way down, because the whole point of this year is to empower someone to come back to today and take the step today and do what they have to do in the time that they have in front of them, until the time they feel like stopping to work. As a mother, it's dependent on kids. Absolutely, I see that regularly, and I'm continuously inspired by how you manage that, as much as I have my 2 cents to say in terms of productivity, time management. Most days seem to go according to plan. How would you translate that message of efficiency, time management, and just the key factors that have to go through a day to cover sales, marketing, reviews of the analytics of the business, finances, taking it all in? Where does strategy play its part? I mean, we have Exco meetings, so where does this fit into your diary and your management, or however you keep it in track upstairs?
So generally the way that I manage my plans for the day for Skin Candy is I set aside personal time, so I understand.
So we're taking it, sorry to cut you off there, we're taking it from the beginning so that we can see the basic processes before we have this final cut version today, and no doubt it will improve going into the future, guys. This is business. So try put your mindset back in that initial phase when everything wasn't kind of figured out.
So early days of Skin Candy, it was very much a trial and error. So you don't have a set plan for the day. You do know, okay, these are the things that I do want to get out. It may be a new advertising campaign. It may be phoning new people. It may just be responding to current leads. But what happens is you realize, okay, I just got a new order for this product. And you start typing that message out and you go, hold on. There has to be an easier way to do this. I can't keep typing this message every time I get the same questions, because I've been getting similar questions over the last few days. So how can I automate this process to make it easier for me? And that's when you start adding those steps into your process, going, how can I automate certain responses? How can I provide relevant information based on what I know people ask? If 10 people have asked me this question over the last 5 days, it's a question that I get asked a lot. How can I respond to this faster? Because that will also free up time in my day.
100%. This is the key to any business, is creating systems. In personal finance, in personal life, in becoming more efficient, in training, in business, it's about creating processes that allow you to become more efficient, to do things a lot faster. And this exactly was, as I saw it from the outside, definitely a necessary process, you'd say, in the beginning of your journey. Definitely not how you run things today. Had you known or understood in the beginning what you understand today, how would you summarize the key messages to somebody watching so that they can kind of get it, even though it's not all going to be, you get it and it's going to magically happen? What would you say then to somebody who's looking to start a business today?
So I think definitely understand what you want your customer to experience. So when you're starting a company, you obviously know that you're providing a solution for a specific problem. And that problem can be put forward to you in many different ways. So for instance, as a skincare company, I get either told, I have a specific skin concern. And that means I need to respond with how my product is a solution for that specific skin concern. Or I get asked a different route, like this is what I want to achieve and how would I get there? So when you're putting a product out in the market and you're a startup, you need to understand all those things that could be happening in your consumer's mind. So you put yourself in your consumer's shoes and you go, what is the problem that I'm solving? And if this is the question that I'm getting asked, how can I answer that in the most relevant and useful way? And as soon as you start providing that information more easily and more relevantly, and I think that's so important, because a lot of us sometimes get lost in, this is what my brand stands for, and I've been through that process, right, where I put in a whole lot of information and I send it out, and suddenly I get, the feedback is blank, and I think, what went wrong here? Why didn't this lead convert? And as the years progressed, you start understanding, if you come to me and you go, how are you? And I go, oh my, you know what happened in my day and all of these things, you're going to walk away and we're not going to have had an interaction that was actually relevant to you. You are asking me a question and I need to respond in a way that allows you to engage with me. So if I come to you and go, Nabeel, I have a skin concern and this is my skin concern. You as Nabeel who owns a skincare company should say, Raeesa, that's interesting. How long have you had the skin concern for? What are the things that you want to achieve with this product? And those are the kinds of things that are important, because that's the kind of conversation that then leads to someone understanding your brand, someone wanting to talk to you about the problem that they have. And when someone wants to talk to you about the problem that they have, then they also want you to provide the solution for that problem. And you can automate that process more easily. But more importantly than that, it's also about actually taking that information that you have and constantly changing it. So I could have done the same thing for the last 5 years. I could have kept, as soon as someone sends me a message going, hi, thank you for contacting Skin Candy. This is our price list. And I could have just said, well, that's what I want to send out. If they choose to buy, they buy. If they don't choose to buy, they don't. But I understood after the 5th person that I sent that to, that wasn't the information they were expecting to receive at that point in the conversation. Maybe that was a little bit further down the line. They wanted to have a conversation with me. This is their skin, you know. They wanted for me to give them advice. They wanted to know they were talking to a real person who cares about them. And that's exactly what I am here for. And when they're ready, they'll go, okay, tell me the price, and I can send it, and it doesn't become a point at which that conversation stops.
So I suppose what you're saying is create the humanity in the process that you create.
100%.
And keep it adaptable to open ideas that changes need to be made in the middle. Mm. That to me is the most powerful advice that you can take away from startup phase anyway, throughout any size of company or product or service that you want to get out there, is to remain more human. And the rest will continue to feed itself. Money will start coming into the business. What do you do with that money? Is it saving? Is it investing? What do you do with that money?
I pump it into branding. I take all that money and I think about what I want my brand to be. And I use that to build it into where I see it down the line. I put it into packaging. I put it into advertising. I put it into my website. I invest it in the things that I know are going to stay in people's minds and how they remember my brand.
The business does have an emergency fund?
Yes, of course, the business.
So what do you do with money?
No,
see, I suppose the key, right? And this is definitely not what you do every day. But what you've said to me is you put it towards your vision. You have this idea, and I see it every day, guys, but this is the important thing. And I think what you can take away from this is you might not feel or understand it, but these things are being done. And such is life. You don't have to have it always figured out. You don't have to be able to explain it always, all the time. And you just have to have a vision. If there's no emergency fund, personally, in a business, look at what has happened over COVID. And I mean, it's sad to see. It's incredibly painful to get the requests in on the channel and just read the news and see the effect of what's happening. But ultimately, it's nobody's fault. I wouldn't even say it's your fault. It's about the knowledge, the awareness, the understanding that you can derive from the resources around you, as many as you can, whether you pay for it or you get it for free, but your adaptation of it to feed your vision. And if you're crystal clear on whatever it is you want to, you can make money. You can build an amazing company with a great experience, and ultimately it will start pulling money in. What you do with that money, personal life, employment life, as a business, will determine everything else. And that's just to logically do what you need to do, because an emergency fund does protect the vision. Thank you for answering that in your best way, honey. It was wonderful to hear it out there, because I've never asked you that question, actually. I just know. And then this again is a reminder why I'm having a lot of fun here, guys. I hope you're enjoying this so far. Key question: what's your favorite video on Money Talks?
How to pay off your bond in 8 years.
Man, we practiced that thing. Boiled it down to a science, guys. I hope if you haven't checked it out, check that thing out. What is your vision about as a mother with regards to the vision of your company, vision of the kids, vision of sustaining a life, living on your own terms? How do you keep it together, and what motivates you every day?
So The thing that motivates me, I think, the most every day is that I actually get to be at home and see my kids. I hear them playing outside and I can go see what they're doing. And I can turn back and I can speak to a client and I can fulfill an order. And then I can go have lunch with them, and then I can get a review from a really happy customer. And I know that what I'm doing is making a difference. But it's not at the cost of me feeling like I missed out on something. I didn't miss first steps, and I didn't miss first words, and I didn't miss that fall this afternoon that required a plaster. But I get to be there. I get to be there for all of those things. And that's what motivates me when I get up in the morning and I get to sit down at my computer and just look to the right of me and see my kids having breakfast. It says to me that you can do this, and you can build this company, and you can build it from your home without feeling like you're missing out on something else that's happening. And in terms of, like, where I see my kids taking it, and you never, as a parent, you don't want to ever put your company on them to take forward, because you want them to live their own dreams, and you want them to be able to know what you do, and to know that you're making a difference. And but at the same time, you want them to do whatever it is that they want to do with their lives and fulfill their dreams. And that's what I want Skin Candy to be able to provide for them, is a platform for them to do whatever it is that they wish to do in their lives, while I get to sit and actually watch them grow up at the same time.
And so you'd say, with all of that business, the cost of creating a business and being at home and kids, I mean, you're telling a story here that, I mean, I see it, guys. This is absolutely true. She is present throughout all of these things while creating a business. Is there really anything holding anyone back?
No, and that's why I feel like this is something that is attainable for anyone. This is definitely something that everyone can do. We feel like the things that hold us back are the things that we don't know. And for me, the biggest thing about that is that anything you don't know can be learned. There is someone that can help you. There's someone that can advise you or guide you. And you've done a lot of that through the years, of saying, I come to you with packaging, even if it may not be your area of expertise. And I go, what do you think of this just as a person? If you saw this on the shelf, would you like it? There's always people in your life who support you and who can guide you and help you and teach you things. And there's things that you can teach yourself. So no matter what you're facing, whether it's, I want to start a business and I don't know how to do a website. There's so many platforms that you can go in there and literally drag and drop onto a website. You don't need to learn how to code, It doesn't have to be something really complicated. Other times it may be something technical, but it's a new skill, Nothing that you teach yourself is time lost. And for that reason, there's nothing holding you back. If I think about my life every day, and I wake up in the morning and I sit there and I just go, Alhamdulillah, I get to be here at home. I get to run a business. I get to spend time with my children. I get to have lunch with my husband. I get to do all these special things in the day. And at the end of the day, I don't feel like I lost any time. I feel like everything about that day is nothing that I would change, because I've either learned something new, or I've experienced something new, or I got to be there for a fall or a first something, or I got to have a conversation with you over lunch, or I got to train with you, Everything in that day is not time lost, because I was at home and I was able to do that, but I was able to build my business. I was still able to stimulate my mind. And, as a lot of mothers have this conversation on The Secret about, I wanted to be at home with my kids because I don't want to miss out on all those precious moments. But as you hit about a year and a half, you start losing it a little bit, going, I don't know how much more I can talk about nappies, or baby talk, because I feel like I'm missing adult interaction. And that's exactly what your own business does for you, is it stimulates that part of your mind again to go, you can be the person that you wanted to be, and you can still be an amazing mother, and you can still be an amazing wife. All of those things are still at play. It doesn't mean if you pick up one, another ball has to drop.
It's a matter of perspective.
100.
And that perspective can change with stress, with the turns of business ups and downs. How do you cope with that? How do you get over that and still maintain such a perfect representation outwards? Because I never see you faltering. You're always smiling. But it happens in business. I go through it. No doubt you do. But how do you keep that up?
I think it's very much based on my support. I mean, I have you. Whenever I am feeling overwhelmed, I come and talk to you, and you very quickly explain to me how to deal with it or how to look at it differently. You know, everyone deals with stress in different ways. I can't say that I don't deal with stress. There are some days where I feel like there's so much to do and there's so little time, or I don't know how to approach this specific problem. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that not everything is in your control. And I remember my dad always saying this to my mom, is there's only so much you can do in a day. And you have to decide what that is that you choose to spend your time doing. And at the end of the day is done. And there's no point in going, I should have done this or I should have done that. And you know, aside from my business, I live my life like that, in terms of not regretting anything that was missed or anything that was done instead of something else. And yeah, sometimes days are stressful, but at the end of the day, you get to sit there and go, these are the things that I did achieve today. And that was a good day, you know?
Where's Skin Candy in 5 years from now?
Skin Candy is in every big retailer that you can possibly think of. Skin Candy is the #1 thing that you find when you search anything to do with skin on Google. And Skin Candy has about 10 offers to be bought out.
Is that the exit strategy?
No, you know, I don't see that, because Skin Candy is my baby, right? And I hear companies do this all the time, you know, is you start a company to hopefully one day be given a huge check that can't even fit in your pocket because it has so many zeros.
Is this your husband's influence?
You hope that, right? When you start the company, you think one day down the line, L'Oreal is going to come to me and they're going to go, I want your brand, and this is how much I'm going to pay you for it. But this far into it, I feel like it's my baby.
Well, it's 5 years, I asked, right?
Right.
It's a close thing, too close for comfort, and leave my baby alone. But the reason I ask that is to convey the message which I see clear as daylight in the passion in which you, I mean, yes, we talk about products, yes, we talk about processes, but it's really, it feels alive. You called it your baby. It is how you see it translate in the real world in front of us. They call it manifesting your vision, I believe. But, you know, it's to me, it's an emotion. It's a feeling. It's great to see you making a difference. It's great to see you read out those reviews out loud to me, you know, you know, I used to believe this many years ago, that, you know, only somebody like a doctor or somebody like managing finances to really make sure that you've built in contingencies, life throws those curveballs, I've made a difference in someone's life. And you know, you say skin aesthetics, you say skin beauty, you say all of these things have so much deeper meaning, not only to people, but females worldwide. And when I read, when you read those reviews and when I see that thing, it always, 100% of the time, shakes me inside to say, you know, no matter what it is that you do, and this is to everyone out there, there's some way or another can leave an impact on somebody's life. And that purely came from, you know, that build on my perspective towards that came from watching you in something that I had a what's the word I'm looking for, a predisposition towards pharmaceuticals and skin and beauty industry. It changes lives. And I want to understand that passion. Where does it come from?
It very much comes from the place of making a difference. And if you had asked me this in school or early university, would you be in skin? I would have said no. But today, and what I know skin does for you and for me, for anyone, you know, it's not just females, is your skin is very much what you put out into the world. It can vary your confidence levels. It can take you forward in terms of how you have a conversation with someone. If I came to sit in front of you today and I had a big pimple on my face here, the chances are I would have been trying to cover it up in some way, or I would have been very conscious of it. Because what happens when something is happening on your face is it directly affects the way you interact with someone, or the way you put yourself out there, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you will have a conversation. And I wanted to help people and women and men and everyone to know that you can be yourself, because we'll take care of your skin. It doesn't have to be something that limits who you are or who you are going to become or who you want to be. And that's why when I get a review from someone saying, you know, you've given me my confidence back, those are the things that drive me forward to go, Skin Candy's on the right track and we're doing things that are making a difference in people's lives. Because if my product helped you to go out and be a little bit more confident in that meeting today, to speak up, and you know, you got noticed, and for that reason, somewhere down the line, it led to you being promoted, then we're doing something. Because that's what it's all about. You know, it's sort of when you go and get your hair done and you're feeling extra special when you walk out of the salon, and you flick your hair a little bit more as you walk through the mall, because you're expecting everyone to know that you got your hair done, because you're feeling so good about it. That's what skin does for you every day.
What was the biggest challenge that you faced in growing this business?
It was definitely actually selling. I'm not the kind of person by nature that is able to sell something to someone. Like I always get told that someone says, sell me this pen, and I go, if you don't want it, then don't take it. Like I can't convince you to buy something that you don't want. But I remember having a conversation with you because I felt like you were amazing at having conversations with people and just talking to them. And I'd see you do that, and I think, I don't know how to do that, and I feel like this is really important for my business. And it took hard work and practice. I remember having discussions with you going, how would I do this? And then saying to you, okay, can you have this conversation with this client instead? Because if they say they don't want it, I'll just go, okay, cool, bye.
And I did have that conversation, and I remember that. Did I sell something to somebody? What lesson did you learn through that? I'm so interested to hear.
No, so what I learned from that conversation, because I remember at the end of it, in my head was, when I go into this conversation, I need to close the deal. And what I learned from you is that that's not necessarily what you need to do. What you need to do is you need to actually build a relationship with that person. By the time they finish that conversation, they need to remember you. They need to remember how they felt about that conversation with you.
This is what you learned.
Because, no, I really did. I learned that sometimes we go in with a plan of, this is what I need to get out of this. And what you can get out of that conversation may be something completely different, but it can be super useful. It can be, actually, this is not what I need, but it's because of this, you know?
Well, you have to listen, right? And ultimately, you know, I want you to finish that off, because those aren't the things that go through my mind either. All I think about is there's a person at the end of the line, and we need to create a win-win situation for whatever reason is happening here, and everybody always wants something. But continue there. Well, you said something about breaking it down. There's always information.
Yes, there's always more information. There's more information under that surface. So when someone says, I remember you having this conversation so clearly, is the person said, no, I'm not interested. And I thought at that point, I was like thinking about how I would have played out this conversation. I would have said, okay, thank you, bye. And you said, tell me why is it? Why is it that you're not interested? And that conversation ended up being a 45-minute conversation where you then spoke to them about business and how they run their business. And you spoke to them about what they think would be good in the skincare industry, and all of this information that you received.
And that person, where do they sit with you today?
That person's actually a stockist. So for me, that was a very interesting. It was a mentorship for me in terms of selling. Selling is not necessarily getting on the phone and going, hi, I have a product for you to sell. Do you want it? And they go, no. And you go, okay, bye. Or how can I definitely get you to buy it and keep forcing this down your throat? Let me understand what it is that you want, or why is it that you don't want this? Because maybe I'm misunderstanding what is required from you. And once I understand that and I realize you're a person who has a need and I'm a person who has a solution, then those two things should meet at some point.
Well, I mean, I sold myself to you. You know, the whole world is run around sales. You're selling for the promotion. You're selling to get that toy away from the kid so he can go to sleep. It's all sales and negotiation. we've put these labels, and I think it comes back to exactly what you said in the beginning about theory that you learn, how afraid you can get about that theory, and then you just have to live and understand that it all comes full circle back to we are people working with people. Systems can automate everything around us, but you can never replace the essence of translating your values, your beliefs, and creating an environment of people, call it customers, you said stockists, customers, prospects, to buy into your brand. It's all irrelevant. Just as you and I talk about this, or you listen to a lot of my talking around money and where it fits in life. Same in business. Sales is necessary. You have to sell in order to make money, to continue to add to your vision. And that you're saying is what helped you overcome your biggest problem. Your biggest challenge was that.
Yeah, of course.
And I only did one of those phone calls, which means you took all of that and you continue to get resellers on board and stock your products everywhere. And there's pharmacy, Graceton Pharmacy, and take a lot now, which is incredible. I had nothing to do with. I mean, I see you doing this. It's a process of you figuring it out. All these lessons that you said. I mean, I understand that there's nothing holding anybody back. But in your journey, I never knew that you know, I don't watch you every single moment. And it's actually awesome that we did this. Thank you very much. I've learned a different perspective from you when I live with you, when you're my best friend. And I'm so happy that we did this. And I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation and took something away. There really isn't anything holding anybody back. And if any time was the time, it's today. So do what you guys got to do. Take what you can. Let me know what you thought about this video in the comments below. Go check out Skin Candy SA, www.skincandysA.co.za. We'll leave a link to that in the description below. Go check it out. Go see what the words of this woman has created, outlined so far. And, I say this partially selfishly, but to many more years of success, fulfillment, health, and everything that goes. I wish all of you guys well today. Reach out, stay in touch, stay committed, share this video, subscribe to this channel. If you haven't, you want to tell them? I've never heard you say that. That camera.
So thank you for watching, and go hit that subscribe button below, and don't forget to like and leave us a comment.
And we'll catch you guys in the next one.
And we'll catch you guys in the next one. I always wanted to say that.
Yeah, but you have to say it all in one flow.
Oh, okay.
Okay, guys.
So go hit that subscribe button, like this video, share a comment below, and catch you on the next one.